Hey guys, welcome back to Ultima Games, and today we're talking about everything interesting that we saw at Gamescom. The first game that really caught our attention was Dune Awakening. Now, I have a few, not concerns, but more curious questions for the game. It's supposed to be a survival MMO. No gameplay was shown, only a CG trailer. It looked really good. For the most part, at least the CD trailer did. I'm just curious as to what this game's going to be doing, because Dune is more of a political movie altogether, so I'm just curious as to how they're going to interpret a MMO survival RPG in this game, where Dune isn't really, made for that. Not saying that it'll be bad or anything, but this is the same studio that made Conan Exiles. That game was received really mixed, so I'm just curious whether or not they can pull it off, or if this is too tall of an order for it, but I have a little bit of faith in them. They pretty much made a decent product with Conan Exiles, and whether or not they can make a game that can adapt to, Dune's story or, the world itself, I'm more curious than anything to see that happen. I wish them the best, though. I hope they make a fantastic game and fans of the series really get to enjoy a decent game from the studio. So only time will tell. We'll see when it comes out or when they show off gameplay. I'm more curious than anything. I'm going to be keeping my eye out for it for sure. The next game that really caught our attention was Gotham Knights. Now, Gotham Knights is an interesting game because they're taking basically the same route, although be it a little bit different than Avengers did with Square Enix. Now, I have a little bit more hope for this game because they have a little bit more, creativity with the world and how the game is actually being played. And it's far more interesting than Avengers is. Avengers was kind of just, kind of a letdown as a live service game and something that no one really wanted. But I'm glad to see that, Gotham Knights actually has, a decent story. They have a great cast of characters, and the world itself looks like it's pretty interesting. Gotham's always a great place for a game. Just look at the Arkham series in general. And, I'm a big fan of, the Red Hood. I love anything with Jason Todd. I'll play any game. He did not get any love, I think, in, Arkham Knight, but it seems like, this company is really, paying attention to what fans want and, what fans are looking for in a co-op / multiplayer game. And I'm very interested to see what they do with it. I hope the best for this game, and I hope to see that they really accomplish what they set out to do with this game. The next big announcement at Gamescom is the DualSense Edge PS5 controller. Now, this controller is super interesting because from the 30-second reveal that we see for this controller, it looks like most of the parts for it are, removable. Like the thumbsticks are, fully taken out, like from top to bottom. Like for example, if you have controller drift, you could potentially just take that out and get a new set of those, which is amazing for a controller like this because that literally eliminates drift. That's the answer to eliminating drift, which is great because that's one of the most annoying things about games right now, or controllers at least, is that once your controller starts drifting, you have to buy a new one because no one has time to want to take it apart or mod it or go get it fixed when they can just buy a new one. Granted, they'll still charge you probably a pretty penny for it, but I mean, for ease of access, it's pretty cool. I can't wait to see it and get it in my hands. I love PS5 controllers. The next Gamescom announcement was Hogwarts Legacy. We got to see a nice little story trailer for the game. Story looked fairly interesting for the most part. I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but I'm interested enough to play the game. I'll probably play it on this channel and stream it a bit when it releases. Granted, it doesn't get delayed again, but as far as delays goes, I am perfectly fine with delays. Delays are a good thing because that means we're going to get a finished game. It's going to be better for it, and it shows the studio's paying attention to the game and actually caring about what they put out. The game's new release date will be February 10th, 2023. That's a pretty good push considering, and the fact that it's that far back is probably meaning just that the game just needs that much more polish, But from what we've seen from the game so far, everything's looking pretty solid. The stories look interesting, voice acting sounded pretty good, and the game just looked interesting and overall. Next game that was, shown off at the Gamescom event was the Callisto Protocol. Now, this game is looking fantastic. I have no complaints about this game whatsoever. The Dead Space reboot that we're all waiting for is looking pretty great. I'm seeing lots of new functions and features as far as gameplay goes. Environmentally wise, this game looks creepy. Like, this game sets out to do what it does, and that's to scare the hell out of you. One thing I'm curious about, at least for like the beginning stages of the game, is how overpowered is this gravity ability of yours gonna be in this game? Because I see most of the time if you use it, it's pretty much just pulling enemies to you and stopping them, and they clearly can't do anything. Now, whether or not they escape or something like that, or there's only a set time, or you have to upgrade it to get it that good, who knows? But I'm curious how it's going to play later on in the game, especially if you start ramping up the difficulty. And another thing I'm loving about this game as well too is I'm loving the pace of the game. Everything feels quicker. With Dead Space, everything was a little bit more sluggish. This game still kind of like has that as far as pacing goes, but when the action's like really ramping up, it's like really moving fast. For announcements, we got the Sonic Frontiers release date, which is a lot sooner than I would have thought for this kind of game. It's coming out November 8th this year, so that's pretty close. That's literally a few months away. When I first saw this game announced, I was a little bit concerned with gameplay, seeing the open world and seeing kind of how like janky the gameplay was. Granted, it was pre-alpha footage, and I took that in consideration, but it just looked really rough and it didn't look too great, and everything just looked so empty, especially for a game that's supposed to have so many environments for you to run through. But now that I'm like really seeing the game and they're showing off more environments and more enemies and just more of what the game has to offer, I'm a little bit less concerned for it. I'm definitely interested. I definitely want to try this game, and I'm curious to play and see what they do with this new Sonic game. Sonic definitely needs a new game or something. They need to really freshen up the formula with this game, because Sonic is a good franchise and they can make it better if they just have to put in the work and effort. And thankfully, it looks like that's what's happening here in this game, and I'm very interested in playing this game. So when it comes out, I can't wait to pick it up. The next big announcement that was shown off at Gamescom was High on Life. Now I'm excited for this game for a few different reasons. One, it has that Rick and Morty comedy style that you see in the show and stuff like that. The creator of that show helped develop this game, really had a big influence with it, and it definitely shows here in this game. Most of your weapons talk to you and communicate as you play through the game, and it's actually meaningful. Like, they're actually coherent. It's not like just a random line here and there. Depending on what you're doing in the game at the time, your weapon will respond and actually give you criticism, like if you do something bad or something good. And and the more I see this game and the more gameplay that they show off, the more interested I become. It looks like a really competent game. It runs smooth for the most part. I know it's a pre-recorded demo, and it's still in development, but for everything they showed off, it just shows out how great this game is and how much there is to do. Now, the game isn't open world necessarily, but it's like hub world pretty much. So think, Tales of, now this game isn't open world, but it's big enough for you to, really explore and to see everything the game has to offer. There's tons of Easter eggs hidden in there. There's tons of NPCs to interact with. It's a very, interesting game to see all together. I'm really excited for it. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link down below, the 25 minutes of gameplay that showed off on IGN. It's definitely worth checking out. It looks like it's going to be a great game, and I can't wait for this to come out. The next game on our list is new Tales from the Borderlands. Now, I am super excited about this game because it's Telltale. They're doing more Tales of the Borderlands, and that's great. Engine looks updated, new characters, and just the trailer just really impressed me. I was really surprised by how good this trailer was. I'm super excited for this game, and I'm always down for more Borderlands no matter what. And we have a release date too, which is surprising. It's coming out on October 21st, 2022, so that's this year. That's like literally in 2 months from now. So I'm definitely picking this up. Telltale never disappoints with their Tales of series, and I definitely can't wait to play it with all the new characters, the new story, and just being in that universe of Tales from the Borderlands. There we got returning characters like Reese from the Borderlands 3 and the previous Tales from the Borderlands games, and I'm just super hyped about this game. I don't even want to talk any more about it because I want to be as surprised as possible when I play through it when the game comes out. And go watch the trailer. I'll leave a link down in the description below. Go watch it. It's a great time. The trailer looks great. I can't wait for this game. You guys let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. Next game on our list is a really big one, and it's Forspoken. This is probably PS5's first real big, exclusive aside from Horizon Forbidden West. And I gotta say, this game looks fantastic for a lot of reasons. Visually, this game is stunning. It shows off just how good PS4 is, or PS5, I mean, is, and it's great looking. Like, the magic looks fantastic. Water looks absolutely breathtaking, and fire just lights up everything like nothing. And the draw distance, of course, is fantastic. But aside from graphics, gameplay is absolutely stunning in this. You use magic in lots of different ways. It's one of the most stylish games I've ever seen that use magic, and the way you traverse the world is just absolutely fantastic. It's fast, it's fluid, it's quick. The way you switch through magic is amazing, and it looks like it plays as well as it looks. The open world too also looks amazing. Nothing looks the same if you're going into different regions. There's plenty of things to do. Nothing looks empty or just lots of empty space. which is always a plus in an open world game, especially for one that looks this big, and lots of different enemies to fight, lots of wildlife to take down. And the way you fight in combat also looks amazing too. Enemies are varied and have different resistances. Using certain spells with other certain spells also gives you bonus for damage, I'm sure. And I can't wait to see the crafting and upgrading as well, because there seems to be plenty of that as well from the demos that they showed off. Another great game that we saw at Gamescom was Where the Wind Meets. Now this game is from a developer that I've never even heard of, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because from what I've seen from the gameplay so far that they showed off, this game looks phenomenal. It reminds me of a game like Ghost of Tsushima and Assassin's Creed. I say Assassin's Creed because it has that weird mystical element to it. You're jumping around on rooftops, you're encountering strange enemies, and this game is really stylish. And when it comes to combat and just doing anything, it has a great mix of cinematics and gameplay. And the environments that this game is going to be taking you through look absolutely breathtaking. When I first watched the trailer, I had to cut back a few times because I was shocked by how good the environments look for a game like this. And lately we've been seeing these Dynasty style games pop up a little bit more. They're just really great looking, and they always look super just over the top, dramatic, and in the best way possible. Like visually, this game looks so great. Like the transition from combat to cutscene to like story bit is just so good, and the cutscenes look fantastic. I can't argue at all when it comes to the graphics on this game. And the environments, they're just like so creative, if that makes sense, I guess. They're always showing off like the world in such a great way, especially like the way the trailer was showing it. It seems like your character's gonna be going on a journey, and a really long one at that, because there was just so much to see and so much to do, and we only saw one town, so I can't wait to see what the game has to offer when it finally releases. But I can't wait to see what this game has to offer. It looks interesting, I'm curious, and I'm definitely gonna buy it when it comes out. The final game that really caught our attention on this channel was the Outlast Trials. Now this game is cool for a couple of different reasons. One, because I was surprised to see another Outlast game come out at all, since the last one didn't do too well. I would have thought they would have moved on to another horror type game, but I'm kind of glad they stuck with Outlast. The last game didn't do too well, and they made some mistakes here and there for the most part, but I'm glad to see that they look like they've learned from that, and that they're even incorporating new features such as like co-op. They're having co-op in a horror game, which is fantastic for a game like this. I'm getting some cool Saw-ish vibes from it too, as far as like the whole Trials thing, trying to get through it with another player. And of course you can play this game solo too, but I can't wait to see how this game performs with co-op, because playing a horror game by yourself is one thing, but to be playing it with another player is pretty awesome. And the combat looks fun for the most part. Looks like you have a little bit more equipment to help yourself survive, and it looks like it's returning to its original roots while trying to do something new at the same time. Definitely interested in this game. I'll leave a link down below for the trailer, of course, and it's coming out sometime this year, so look forward to it, because I definitely am. And that about wraps up our video for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave your feedback down below. I'm curious to see what you guys think about our videos, and thanks for watching. Until next time.